imagine you are swimming in the open ocean. Beneath you, the water drops down into miles of bottomless blue. Suddenly, you feel a presence. You turn around, expecting the sharp silhouette of a shark or the massive bulk of a whale. Instead, you are looking at something that defies the very definition of a living creature. It has no brain to think about you. It has no heart to pump blood. It has no bones, no lungs, no eyes, and its body is 95% water. If you took it out of the sea, it would literally evaporate into thin air, leaving nothing behind but a faint stain on the sand. Yet, this translucent ghost is not only alive, it is one of the most efficient, lethal, and indestructible predators on planet Earth. It has witnessed the rise and fall of the dinosaurs, survived 5 mass extinctions, and today, while human activity is causing entire ecosystems to collapse, this creature is doing something terrifying. It is taking over the world's oceans. We call them jellyfish, but they are not fish at all. They are biological anomalies, cosmic entities operating on an evolutionary blueprint so alien it makes you wonder if they even belong on this planet. Are they truly the weirdest animals in the ocean, or are they something much more profound, the ultimate design for life itself? To understand just how bizarre a jellyfish is, we have to look at what they lack. Every animal you are familiar with, from a dog to a goldfish to a human being, is built around a centralized system. We have a command center, which is the brain. We have a distribution network, which is the heart and blood vessels. We have a structural framework, which is the skeleton. Jellyfish looked at that entire evolutionary manual and threw it in the trash. They belong to a phylum called Cnidaria, a group of creatures that branched off from the rest of the animal kingdom over 600 million years ago. That means jellyfish were successfully hunting, reproducing, and colonizing the seas hundreds of millions of years before the first primitive tree ever sprouted on land. They navigate the world entirely without a brain. Instead, they possess what biologists call a nerve net. Imagine a decentralized web of neurons woven loosely throughout their entire body. There is no central processing unit making decisions. If a tentacle touches a piece of food, the tentacle reacts. If a predator brushes against their bell, the bell pulses away. It is a completely automated system, operating less like a conscious animal and more like a highly sophisticated, organic software program. They do not experience fear, joy, or curiosity. They do not plan their day, and they do not remember yesterday. They exist in a perpetual, infinite present, reacting entirely to the chemical and physical signals of the water around them. And yet, despite having no brain to coordinate movement, they are the most energetically efficient swimmers on Earth. For decades, scientists couldn't understand how a creature made almost entirely of water could move so effortlessly. When a jellyfish pulses its bell, it doesn't just push itself forward through muscle power. The contraction of its body creates a low-pressure zone directly in front of it, effectively sucking the jellyfish through the water. As the bell relaxes, it generates a pair of vortex rings that provide an extra kick of propulsion for free. It is a masterclass in fluid dynamics. They expend up to 48% less energy than any other swimming animal. In a realm where saving energy means the difference between life and starvation, the brainless jellyfish is a bureaucratic masterpiece of efficiency. But their simplicity disappears the moment you look at how they hunt. Since they cannot chase down prey in the traditional sense, they rely on a weapon system so advanced it belongs in a science fiction movie. A jellyfish tentacle is not just a piece of flesh, it is a launchpad for millions of microscopic, pressurized biological missiles called nematocysts. Each nematocyst is a tiny capsule containing a coiled, hollow needle tipped with venom. On the outside of the capsule sits a microscopic hair trigger. The moment a passing fish or a human leg brushes against that trigger, the capsule bursts open. The pressure inside is immense, over 150 times the pressure of a car tire. This pressure drives the venomous needle outward with an acceleration that is one of the fastest movements in the entire biological world. It takes less than a millionth of a second for the needle to punch through the skin or scales of its victim. It happens so fast that scientists have to use ultra-high-speed cameras just to capture a blurry image of the deployment. Once the needle penetrates, it pumps a cocktail of neurotoxins, cytotoxins, and cardiotoxins directly into the prey, paralyzing it instantly so the jellyfish can drag it up into its mouth. And speaking of their mouth, that is another area where jellyfish prove how utterly bizarre they are. They do not have a complex digestive tract with a stomach, intestines, and an exit point. They have a single opening. This opening serves as the mouth, the weapon deployment zone, and, when digestion is finished, the anus. Everything goes in, gets dissolved by powerful enzymes in a central gastrointestinal cavity, and whatever cannot be digested is expelled back out through the exact same hole. It is brutal, primitive, and perfectly effective. If you think the standard jellyfish you see washed up on a beach is strange, the deeper you go into the ocean, the more nightmarish and magnificent they become. Take, for instance, the Deepsteria jellyfish. It doesn't have long, trailing tentacles like a classic jelly. Instead, it looks like a massive, undulating, translucent sheet or a ghostly plastic bag floating through the abyss. It can expand its body to several feet across, moving through the darkness like a living blanket. When a small fish or crustacean wanders underneath it, the Deepsteria closes its edges, trapping the victim inside its own body cavity like a cage, where it slowly digests the prey alive. Then there is the Stygiomedusa gigantea, commonly known as the giant phantom jellyfish. This is a creature of myth and shadow, spotted by scientists fewer than 100 times in over a century of deep-sea exploration. The bell of the phantom jelly can be over 3 feet wide, but its most striking feature is its 4 mouth arms. Instead of thin tentacles, it sports 4 massive, ribbon-like curtains of flesh that can stretch up to 33 feet long. These dark, velvety drapes billow in the deep ocean currents, acting as giant, sticky flypaper for anything unfortunate enough to swim into them. Watching a phantom jellyfish glide through the pitch-black water of the midnight zone is like watching an alien deity drift through interstellar space. But the title for the most visually stunning adaptation belongs to the comb jellies, or ctenophores. Though they are technically a different phylum from true jellyfish, they share the same gelatinous lifestyle and are often grouped together. Comb jellies do not use a pulsing bell to swim. Instead, they are lined with 8 rows of microscopic, hair-like structures called cilia, which beat in unison like tiny oars. As light hits these moving rows of hairs, it refracts, creating a continuous, shimmering rainbow of neon colors that ripples down the creature's body. It looks like a living neon sign, a neon spaceship gliding through the dark. And many true jellyfish possess actual bioluminescence, the ability to create their own light through chemical reactions. When disturbed, they can flash brilliant blues and greens, lighting up the dark ocean either to startle a predator or to act as a burglar alarm, illuminating the animal attacking them so that an even larger predator will come and eat the threat. Yet, of all the incredible variations of jellyfish, there is one that completely shatters our understanding of biology and mortality. It is a tiny creature, barely the size of a fingernail, known scientifically as Turritopsis dohrnii, but the world knows it by its much more ominous title, the immortal jellyfish. In every other animal on Earth, aging is a one-way street. You are born, you grow, you reach maturity, you age, and you die. Cells break down, and eventually, the system fails. The immortal jellyfish found a loophole in the laws of nature. Like most jellyfish, its life cycle begins not as a swimming bell, but as a tiny larva that settles on the seafloor and grows into a colony of polyps, which look like miniature sea anemones. These polyps eventually bud off and release young jellyfish, called ephyrae, which grow into the mature, swimming adults we recognize. Normally, an adult jellyfish reproduces and eventually dies. But if a mature Turritopsis dohrnii faces starvation, physical trauma, or a drastic change in water temperature, it doesn't die. Instead, it drops to the ocean floor. Its body begins to shrink, absorbing its own tentacles and bell. It reverts all the way back into a blob of undifferentiated cells, and then, miraculously, transforms itself back into a polyp colony. It is the biological equivalent of a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, or a 70-year-old human sliding back into the womb and becoming a fetus again. This process is called transdifferentiation. The jellyfish's cells don't just repair themselves, they completely reprogram their identity. A cell that was once part of a tentacle can become part of a polyp stalk. From this polyp state, the colony can once again release genetic clones of the adult jellyfish. Theoretically, this loop can go on forever. Barring being eaten by a predator or crushed by a rock, the immortal jellyfish can live indefinitely. It has conquered time itself. While humans spend billions of dollars trying to slow down the wrinkles on their skin, a brainless blob of gelatin in the ocean has mastered the secret to eternal youth. But why does any of this matter? Why should we care about these brainless, drifting ghosts of the deep? The answer is both fascinating and terrifying. Jellyfish are winning the modern world. Right now, the oceans are in crisis. Human activity is driving overfishing, pulling millions of tons of predatory fish like tuna, dohrnii, and sharks out of the sea. At the same time, agricultural runoff is pumping massive amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus into the water, creating vast algal blooms. When these blooms die, they sink and decompose, consuming all the oxygen in the water and creating what scientists call dead zones, areas of the ocean where the oxygen levels are so low that fish, crabs, and whales suffocate and die. To top it off, carbon emissions are driving up global sea temperatures and making the water more acidic. For almost every marine creature, this combination of factors is a death sentence. But for jellyfish? It is paradise. Jellyfish thrive in warm water. It accelerates their metabolism and causes them to reproduce at blistering speeds. Furthermore, because jellyfish have such low oxygen requirements, they can swim right into hypoxic dead zones where their competitors and predators cannot survive. With the predatory fish gone due to overfishing, there is no one left to eat the baby jellyfish, and no one left to compete with them for food. The jellyfish enter the dead zones, feast on the remaining plankton, and multiply exponentially. The result is a phenomenon known as a jellyfish bloom. Imagine a blanket of jellyfish so dense and massive it covers hundreds of square miles of the ocean surface. These blooms are no longer rare occurrences, they are happening with increasing frequency all over the globe, and they are wreaking havoc on human infrastructure. In Japan, fishermen have seen their livelihoods devastated by Nomura's jellyfish. These monstrous creatures can grow up to 6 feet wide and weigh over 400 pounds. When hundreds of them drift into a commercial fishing net, their sheer weight crushes the fish inside, rips the nets to shreds, and can even capsize the fishing boats trying to haul them in. In Israel, Sweden, and Scotland, jellyfish blooms have shut down nuclear power plants. These plants rely on drawing in massive amounts of seawater to cool their reactors. When a swarm of millions of moon jellyfish gets sucked into the intake pipes, they create a gelatinous wall that completely blocks the water flow, forcing operators to initiate emergency shutdowns to prevent a meltdown. In the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, an invasive species of comb jelly called nematocysts completely collapsed the local fishing industries. It multiplied so rapidly that it consumed nearly all the zooplankton in the sea, starving the local fish populations to the point of extinction and transforming a vibrant ecosystem into a monoculture of slime. Some marine biologists fear that we are witnessing a fundamental shift in the global ocean regime. We are moving away from an ocean dominated by fish, mammals, and coral reefs, and entering an era of the gelatinous ocean. We are resetting the clock. We are pushing the oceans back to the Precambrian era, a time before complex life existed, when the seas were nothing but a vast, primordial soup ruled by drifting cnidarians. This brings us back to our core question: are jellyfish the weirdest animals in the ocean? If you define weird as something that deviates from the norm, something that challenges our understanding of what an animal should be, then absolutely. They have no brain, yet they outsmart our most advanced industrial infrastructure. They have no heart, yet they possess a biological drive so fierce it allows them to conquer entire ecosystems. They have no eyes, yet they navigate the pitch-black trenches of the deep sea with flawless precision. They are built out of nothing but water and a few strands of protein, yet they can deploy weapons with the speed of a bullet and rewrite their own DNA to live forever. But perhaps weird is the wrong word. When we call an animal weird, we are looking at it through a human lens. We are comparing it to ourselves. We think that because we have brains, skeletons, and complex organs, our way of living is the standard, the pinnacle of evolutionary success. But when you look at the grand timeline of Earth, humans are just a brief flash in the dark. We have been here for a few 100,000 years. The fish we love to eat have been here for a few 100 million. Jellyfish have been here for over 500 million years. They watched the continents drift apart. They floated peacefully through the water while an asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs. They survived ice ages that froze the globe and supervolcanoes that choked the atmosphere with ash. They are not an evolutionary dead end or an oddity of nature. They are a triumph of minimalism. They prove that you do not need a brain to outlast empires. You do not need a heart to inherit the earth. All you need is a design so simple, so resilient, and so perfectly attuned to the fluid dynamics of the world that nothing, not even a mass extinction, can wipe you out. So, the next time you look out at the ocean, do not just see a vast expanse of blue water. Realize that just beneath that surface, drifting silently in the currents, is an ancient alien civilization of glass and stingers. They are not waiting for their time to come, their time has always been here. And as the world changes, they will still be there, pulsing through the dark, long after the rest of us are gone. They are not the weirdest animals in the ocean, they are the ultimate survivors.